Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. And trust me guys, it works. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And the best of all, it is totally free. Yes, totally free. So download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, that works good then. I was like, oh man, I can't find my headphones.
Oh, because didn't we struggle last time when you did use your headphones?
Yeah, and then I wear them to work and I can't remember what I did with them, so
Well, I mean, I can hear you just fine now.
awesome. That works good.
Are you using your own phone?
Yeah, I'm just
Your own. Oh, well, that's weird on why last time I couldn't really hear you well.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. But how's it been since our
Oh,
last time?
working my ass off, man.
There you go. I caught the flu.
Yeah, I think I saw your post.
Yeah. Well, because I was starting to feel sick around like Thursday, Friday ish. I think more Friday is when it was starting to really show.
Mm,
And then uh, Saturday is when it got worse. And that's when I had to call off of work. And then yesterday I was still bad, so I had to call off of work again and go to Quick Care. And they're like, "Yeah, we tested you for strep, you don't have it. We tested you for COVID, you don't have it, and we also tested you for flu, and you have the flu." I'm like, oh,
um,
"Of course."
I remember last year on Halloween, my girlfriend she had strep and COVID at the same time. God, that sucked.
Oof. I thought it was more strep because it hurt a lot on the throat, especially when I cough and swallow. So I thought
Yeah.
that's what it was. But she was like, no, the test came back negative. And with the flu, you do get that a lot though when it comes to that. So I was like, oh, I guess makes sense. And I did also, I believe I know why I caught it. I did when I got off of work and when I walked to my car. I wasn't wearing any sweater or anything, and I was breathing in heavily of the cold air,
Oh yeah.
and I
That,
could feel it. I could feel it in my lungs too when I was breathing. So more than likely, that's probably when I felt it
yeah.
when I caught it. I mean,
And people, I mean, flu happens anywhere though. You freaking
yeah,
do something wrong. You touch the wrong thing without washing your hands and you're sick. But at least it's not COVID. So
yeah. I mean, and I knew it wasn't because like I said, I've had it before. I had it before anyone like it first was even named, and
yeah,
I mean I had it, and I knew from how I felt it wasn't that. I thought it was strep again because of the whole throat, but I
yeah.
guess I was wrong.
Well, I mean, in hindsight, strep sucks. Flu, at least you're just feel crappy for a little bit and then you know.
Yeah, I
But
mean, because she did give me this one antiviral medicine, and she's like, here are the side effects: diarrhea, vomiting, and possibility of mood changes. I'm like, perfect. Well, if this helps, then I'll take it.
right,
Because I already have diarrhea anyways. Because if I eat certain foods, it happens already. So nothing new to me. Vomiting, it's sucky, but I should be fine. And I think it's helping me.
well,
Because
that's good.
then my girlfriend, she was feeling kind of sick as well yesterday as well. And so she got the NyQuil and DayQuil combo, but with the VapoCool. So when
Mm,
you take it, it's like it has a lot of menthol in it, so it's very, very cold,
yeah,
and it feels good. I'll be honest, feels really good.
yeah.
But I mean, uh, it felt weird not having anyone for Sunday and not posting anything Sunday. I was gonna post something, but
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I mean, just for how sick I was, like I couldn't, I couldn't even be on my phone for long. I couldn't even watch YouTube or nothing. Like,
Mhm.
um, I was just, I think just in my head, like not in my head, but just like, I don't know, I was just so sick. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't even want to be on anything right now. I just kind of want to lay down and
Yeah. No,
kind of
I've
just
been.
go to sleep and not do anything.
And there's been times where I've been sick and like same as you. I can't even watch TV or anything. I'm just gonna sleep, man. All the lights out, just pass out, man.
Oh, and and it made it worse is how it would sometimes be hard for me to sleep because of how congested I was.
Yeah.
And when you breathe so much in your mouth, your lips start getting chapped, they start getting dry, your throat gets dry. So you wake up having to drink water, but then you just feel your lips chapped and your throat burning dry. And then you try to go back to sleep, but you can't because
Right.
uh, the-
Can't breathe, and
it just sucks. But
being sick is trash, man. Especially like
yeah.
being. I always end up getting sick right around Christmas too. I guarantee you it happens this year again.
Probably. I mean, the nurse did say it happens a lot during this time of year.
Yeah.
Usually November, December, we that's when we get the most people because that's where most people get sick.
Right. I
I'm
mean, it
like,
makes sense.
yeah,
Still
but
sucks.
ass sucks ass. But hey, um, I mean, I was trying to get other people on the podcast, um, but I got denied by
Oh man.
some by so I almost got Julie. I remember Julie Lacey.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Lacey, in case you want to call her. But I mean, she's busy as hell too, so I mean, can't bother her on that.
Yeah.
She had to reschedule twice, and then this last one is when she couldn't do it the day we were supposed to do it because she was going to take her horse to the vet. But by that time, I was already getting sick. Like I was already like starting to like the heavy part of it.
Mm.
So I was like, yeah, no, I wasn't even mad at her. I just said, in my head, I'm like, I didn't even answer her. I just said, in my head, I'm like, nah, it's okay because I don't feel like doing it right now. Like, I honestly don't feel like doing it. Like, I can't even talk. I can't even think. So I don't even want
Yeah.
to do it. I tried doing Kirk. He kind of just bailed. He said yes and then just bailed.
Yeah.
Destin bailed.
Oh.
Kyler, I told him, he's like, if he's down, he said yeah. And then I asked him what time and day. Completely left me on red.
Mm.
And then yeah, then Haley left me undelivered. I'm like, well, that's fun.
She's a married woman. She ain't got time, man. I guess I can say the same for Tyler. He's got 2 kids, so.
Two kids? I thought you had one.
No, I think he just had a little girl, another one.
Holy shit. With
Yeah.
Haley too, right? Not Haley, Holly.
Yeah, I believe so.
What's going on with them? They're, I see
I
new posts of how they're in love and then some poem of people cheating and then they're in love again and then
I
about being a single father and I don't
I
know.
I don't. I mean, I hear things, and at one point, one of them, I'm not going to specify who reached out to me because me, I have a kid, and I went through the whole separation thing.
Hmm.
So everybody's like, "Oh, you should know what's going on." I was like, "Dude, I had no idea what was going on." Like, I got the court papers in the mail, went to the court thing, and they're like, "Where's your attorney?" I was like, "I don't fucking know. I didn't know I needed one." So everybody's, they're asking me, "Who'd you use for your attorney?" I was like, "Me. I used me."
You're like, I
But
showed up because I didn't even know I was supposed to be there.
yeah, I mean, it worked out in the long run, but like, you know, um, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, I've heard some crazy stuff where I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen, and then I've heard some stuff where I'm like, yeah, that might have happened, but I don't know, man. But
I mean, knowing whatever the case may be, uh, knowing knowing whatever Kyler has done could be partially true. I mean, I've known him in high school. Whatever happened, it
I
could be
haven't.
seen as okay, it can happen, but
Yeah, I mean,
I never really knew how Holly was, so.
I mean, I lived with, and I lived with him after I graduated, and then I got my own apartment, like literally right next door to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was around when he first met Holly. And it was funny. What funny was like Holly wasn't even there for Kyler in the first place. She was there to hang out with. I think Evan had like invited her to come hang out, and then she like fell for Kyler, and it was a big thing. And then
I think
Kyler
I
had
remember
our
that.
falling in, where we. I mean, I don't think I've talked to the kid in like 3 years. So I don't know. I mean, I keep an eye on it because I'm at that point in my life now where I don't give a shit about drama anymore. It's whatever. You don't like
I
me,
just
whatever.
look at it and I'm like, damn.
I know. I'm like, whatever. Cool. Like, I mean, a couple months ago, someone like I don't even live in Bluffs anymore, and then someone down there texted me like, "Hey, so and so said this about you that they saw you doing this the other day." I was like, I don't know how that's possible because I don't live there, but all right, cool.
Like, I guess if it's my attorney, I guess.
Like, I mean,
He's trying to, my attorney's trying to start shit because I didn't bring him in, but I guess.
I don't know. It's like, you know, older you get, it's just you're done with it. I go. I mean, I go to work and I come home. I don't have time. I mean, I literally don't have time in the day for drama. I work a 10-hour day, and then I come home and
Mm-hmm.
eat and go to bed. So
Basically, I mean, once you get older and you get busy in your own life, I mean, I'll scroll through Facebook and I'll see stuff and I'm like, really? Like and it's the same thing. I'm like, really? Come on. Like that's why you need to leave the town. That's why you need to leave the
right,
panhandle because everyone knows everyone. Just
right.
leave and you'll see how much the
And
drama drops.
you piss one person off, and then that person tells their friends. And the next thing you know, there's this whole thing going on about you, and you're like, I didn't know that, but cool. You're hearing rumors, and you're sitting there like, did I do that? Man, I'm an asshole. Did I do that? And you're like, wait, no, there's no way. But
Basically.
I don't know.
Or you meet them at Walmart because you know the only stores there are like Walmart, Safeway, and Target and fresh foods, and so then you see them there, especially at Walmart, and then you know stuff can happen, like shit can happen, and again, just small town. That's why I'm
Yeah.
glad I left.
Well, I'm going back down there Friday because it's my son's birthday, so I'm gonna go see him. But I'm like, yeah, I gotta go see my son. But then I was like, downside, I gotta go back to fucking Bluffs, which I
Yeah,
guess Arnie, and I guess I mean you're in Lincoln, right?
yeah.
So even then and there, you know, like especially in Kearney more so than Lincoln, I guess I still see a bunch of people that you know we went to school with, and I'm like, oh god, like I saw Jovan in Walmart the other day, and I was
He
like,
still
oh.
lives in Kearney.
No, I just kind of looked at each other like, what's up, man? And then he kept walking, but you know,
You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, on.
I mean, I saw him and I was like, man, I fucking know that kid. How do I know him? And I was like, oh shit.
I mean, cause usually people in the Panhandle, their go-to towns are Chadron or Kearney.
Yeah, I mean,
Most people don't go to Lincoln or Omaha or whatever. Most of the times I'll hear people and they'll want to go to Kearney. Kearney a lot
yeah. I mean,
because
and Kearney's not bad, and like I definitely like it more than Bluffs. There's more to do.
hmm
There's always something going on, you know, like especially like my girlfriend's in college, so she gets to go to all those like events and stuff. So I get to go with her, and it's fun. But I find that once you do everything once, it's pretty boring. It's like, okay, I don't want to go there because we've already been there.
hmm
It's definitely more
yeah.
fun than Bluffs, where you know the only place to hang out is the Walmart parking lot.
Or
Or
that one
back.
or that one parking lot of where uh like the Albertsons, like that big lot right there,
Oh,
the old
yeah,
Albertsons,
the parking lot.
where
It's a different gas station now, but
'cause it's do they call it the watering hole or is it something different?
I know it used to be like FTC, and then it changed to Watering Hole, and then I don't know. I haven't been back in Bluffs for like almost a year now, so shit's changed. Like I was on there, I was you know my girlfriend's like, oh, what restaurants are down there so we can eat? And I was like, outside of Steel Grill, you got Applebee's and Chili's, bro, and a bunch of Mexican places.
Yeah, and what's the one place? It's like Steel Grill. Bro, it's Bacharach's. That
Bacharachs,
place
yeah.
that place is good.
They got good burgers, yeah.
Their burgers. The burger that I like there is the PB&J one. It,
Yeah, dude, I've wanted to try that. Like, I see it on menus up here all the time. I'm like, oh, I want to try it just because I want to know.
it isn't bad. Like when I first saw it there, I'm like, let me try it, and I tried it. I'm like, this is honestly really good because it brings a sweet and salty
Yeah,
flavor to it, and you're like, wow, it actually tastes really good.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to try it next time I'm out.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, last time when we went, it felt empty. The town felt empty. I'm like, God, I haven't been here for so long, but it just feels empty.
I know it's shitty because like anytime like I still follow like the Scottsbluff County Scanner
Hmm.
Facebook, and I'll be scrolling and it's like sex trafficking picked up, drug people picked up. I'm like, what the hell is happening down there? But then you realize everybody, it's just people moving in from like out of state, and they're doing all this fucked up shit. But it's shitty because like I mean, when at least when I was in high school and stuff, I didn't really see it as a shithole town. I mean, I was like, damn, I got to get out of here. But I was young enough where I could run around and find something fun to do. But then as like when I
Hmm.
graduated, I was like, I don't want to do that shit anymore. Like I used to go run around Walmart, like fucking playing hide and seek in Walmart and tag and shit.
Hmm.
Like I mean, we even used to do it when we used to go out for like the fucking team shit the night before basketball games and stuff. Go fuck around Walmart. But
I don't remember that where uh, we'd always we're, we'd always try to do that, but then for football, JJ was like, you have to invite everyone because if you guys are only going to invite certain people, we can't allow it because obviously favoritism.
yeah,
And but then it'd be hard because then when we would invite everyone, out of everyone, half the team would go, and so then it would seem like favoritism, but it's like no, this other person just A didn't have money, B didn't have a car, C their parents didn't let them, so it's like well we don't
right.
we don't want to leave people out, but it just looks like we are.
Yeah, I didn't care who came in basketball because I was just kind of like I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fun as long as they're more than just two people. I mean,
Yeah.
we always went to McDonald's. Like I tried my best when like if people came out and they're like, "Oh, I came out with you, but I don't have money for food." I was like, "I got extra cash. Go get something. I don't fucking care."
Hmm. Yeah.
It'd be a team bonding thing. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna dick and not get you something. But I don't know. Like I said, it's just. I mean, like I when I go down there on Friday, I fully expect to feel like how you guys felt. It's gonna be empty. Like I always hear about like this store closed down, but this one opened up in its place, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna know what's where anymore.
Yeah. Um, like I know the Ford dealership, the one that was in front of Target.
Mm.
Um, some I forgot what company bought them, so now they're not that Ford dealership's not. I think it was Fremont. I think it's what it was called.
Yeah, Fremont. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not there. They got bought off by someone, and
Okay.
so now, um, but I mean, I could see it. I mean, they would never have anything there anymore.
Yeah.
Even when I was there, I'd see, and they didn't have shit. They barely have any vehicles.
Yeah. Well, that and like it's. I mean, no offense. I mean, there's obviously people down there who can buy a new vehicle, but not a lot of people there are buying off the lot vehicles. It's Facebook Marketplace because it's cheap and easy.
Hmm.
So it's hard.
Yeah,
That and there's like fucking at one point I think there was like 15 dealerships in Scottsbluff.
there's
It's
a
like
lot of
that
fucking
many,
dealerships.
but
Even here in Lincoln, there's a lot of dealerships. Like down south, we have the Lexus dealership and another dealership that we have, and then not like maybe half a mile, like where or the Walmart that my Trinity works at, we had another dealership there. It's the Dillons that we got one right there, and then you go up. I forgot how many miles. You got another one up there. There's just
yeah,
there's a lot of them here.
it
But
makes
granted,
sense for like to have more in Lincoln. I mean, it's big, so
yeah,
that and that's where all the people with money in Nebraska live. There in Omaha, so
yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. If you want to make your money, you come to Lincoln or Omaha. If you don't want to leave Nebraska,
yeah,
um, but you want to make your money, you go to Lincoln or Omaha.
I wouldn't mind living in Lincoln, but you know, we have other plans. Like when Destiny or when my girlfriend graduates in May, we want to move to. Well, we're not going to move right away, but her find a job and me find something. Then we want to go up to Colorado because they got jobs and stuff. But everything's so much more expensive over there. So we'll see what happens.
But I mean, hey, you will probably get paid more though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people who grew up in Nebraska who don't want to leave the state, they don't realize how sometimes it's beneficial because I worked in Wyoming when I was working at the prison, and Wyoming doesn't charge state tax, so they don't take that state tax out of your paycheck, so your paycheck's always nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then Colorado, their property tax is super low, so that's not coming out super high. So, but a lot of people don't see that. I mean, and you can't blame them because some people who grew up in like Bluffs don't want to leave because that's all they've known. But me, I was like, I gotta get the fuck I had a struggle leaving just because I had a kid and I was like, oh, I don't want to leave. But also back in my mind, I was like, I'm also not gonna be able to make money to take care of him if I'm working at McDonald's, because outside of like Walmart takes care of you, I mean, if you want to work, they'll schedule you, they'll do this, they'll do that, But outside of Walmart, what's really there in Bluffs, Walmart and the sugar factory, I guess, but the sugar factory their pay sucks.
Pay sucks. The work sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's funny because I always hear people say, "Oh, just work at the sugar factory. They pay really good," and you look, you're like, "That's good to you?"
Right. I mean, to some people, that's good, but at this point in our lives, $11 an hour or so, it's not gonna even minimum wage definitely not gonna cut it, because then you got to start paying for all your shit on your own, your rent, phone bill, Wi-Fi, electric, shit like that. And it's like, yeah, that's not gonna cover it.
Yeah, kind of like here at McDonald's. I think they changed their starting pay to 15.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn. So you guys pay the same that Target pays.
We saw a Wendy's down here in Kearney that was it was $17.50 an hour. And I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna go work at Wendy's. God damn.
Get free food for your break. There you go.
I don't know if this is gonna interrupt me, but I got a message from something. Is that gonna mess this up?
Shouldn't. Let's see. His answer.
Let me open this.
Yeah, shouldn't. I mean, I can't see you, but I can still hear you for right now, so it's,
Okay.
fine. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really how it is. That's what it's coming to, where fast food has to start paying more because of just how much how much expensive it's starting to get.
And I don't know if I mean we've definitely noticed it where people just don't want to work, you came off that thing where you had COVID pay for the longest time and you didn't have to go to work because you were getting those stimulus checks. Now that COVID's, I don't want to say it's over, but it's not as big of a thing anymore. They just don't want to go back. They're like, nah, don't want to work. So the people are like, we need workers. Let's pay them $18 an hour to work at McDonald's. That'll get them in,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just, and it's not even a matter of I can't say those people are being lazy because it's just what they got used to for a long time. It was 2 years of COVID crap where they either were working from home or they got let go and other places weren't hiring, so they were sitting at home, and it's just they got used to it. You can't really blame them for that. But then you do have the people who just don't want to work. They just don't want to do nothing.
Who love to flex that stimulus money? It's like, if you're flexing that stimulus money, you're showing me that you obviously don't want to go work because you're flexing free money you got. Like when you're fanning out 20s, that's not cute.
Right. I mean, I see people on Snapchat who are like, "Oh, we're going out tonight," and it's a bunch of $5 bills and there's one $20. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Go to fucking Applebee's or something?
Even McDonald's, some McDonald's here, each location is different, Because I mean everyone knows the hot and spicies, well, the McChickens alone, they're not $1 anymore. Nothing's on that menu is $1 anymore. And here at Lincoln, some locations, the hot and spicy are $1.79, $1.99. In Omaha, some places it's $2.49, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I've noticed it. Like you said, like even there's different locations here where like I get the same order every time, and at one McDonald's is this price, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to this one across town, and it's a totally different price. I'm like, I mean, it's never like too crazy of a difference,
hmm
but it's definitely different. You're kind of like, what the hell happened?
yeah, like
But I don't know. That's just, I mean, shit's going up. I mean, I'm just glad gas is going down again.
yeah. Uh, in Omaha, well, in Gretna, it hit 2.99 last week, and some gas stations here in Lincoln, it's starting to hit 3.10.
Yeah,
And
we're. I think the lowest one we have is like 325. So we're getting there.
oh wow. Yeah, I
Almost.
mean some here are still like 3.39, 3.35, but
Yeah.
some are like 3.10, 3.11, right in 2.99.
Well, I know
Um
back in Bluffs, like people are posting in like the garage sale site thing, like, ooh, gas at this gas station, 2.99. I'm like, damn. All right.
yeah, fuck it. I mean, and that's what my girlfriend said. I believe like last week she was like, yeah, I guess Bluffs, their gas is $1.99. I was like, what? Not $1.99, $2.99. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Fucking Luckies.
I know, but it's always like it always seems to come from like the each end of the state in gas prices. Like it drops lower, farther you get in. So like
Yeah.
if you live in like the middle, you're kind of fucked because like you got to be the last one on the list that gets the lower gas prices. But I'm just happy they're going down because like at one point I was like, man, if we go over $4, I'm walking.
When it was 4.89 and I'd have to be paying like up to $80, I'm like, God, no. For
I'm about
my
to get
little Altima. I
yeah. I
was
mean,
really considering getting an electric car.
we have a Honda and those do good on gas, but like man, like we would try to like keep it like a half a tank and then fill up, so we didn't have
hmm
to get all the way empty. But there was times where it was like busy weeks and stuff where like, oh shit, we weren't paying attention. And we were spending like 80, $85 on gas to fill up. And I was like, yeah, we ain't doing this no more. We're walking everywhere.
Jesus. And so, where do you see, like, do you see it becoming an upcoming trend, like, of inflation of, well, I mean, obviously we know it's going to be, inflation is real, inflation happens, but
Yeah.
do you think you're going to see, um, like the housing market, do you think it's gonna like like do you see it going down, like not a crash, but do you just see it going like steadily down, or like
I don't know.
um
I think like I like to look. I'm one of those people that get on like Zillow and just look at houses. And I see prices fluctuating like month to month. They'll be like, ooh, we raised the price because it's a nice area to live in, and then like the next month it's like, oh, we lowered it because we found this in the property line and whatever, and then the next month it's higher for a reason. I don't know. As of right now, I can see it maintaining maybe for a year, just staying kind of the same with a little wavy line. But eventually, I feel like it'll be a slight crash, nothing horrible, But
mhm,
it's kind of like without calling it a recession, we're in a slight recession, which sucks
like
because the dollar ain't worth what it used to be,
mm,
especially now. But we got all that stuff with like, a lot of shit affects it because we got that shit going on with Russia where we're trying to handle it too, and then still trying to recover from COVID, and then other shit, and it's just you know people want, and that's my problem is people want things to happen now, and it's like it takes time.
mhm,
It's not like the president can be like, oh, higher wages, sign it off, there you go. It's like that. It's a process. He can say that he wants it to happen, doesn't mean it's going to. And it takes a while. It's just people want things now, and they don't realize that that's not how it works. But
yeah, I mean,
And I'm not
shit.
okay by any means with how the world's going, but in my mindset is what the hell am I going to do about it? I mean, I can't do anything. I live in the country. I got to deal with what they decide.
I mean, yeah, because um, I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how like with people that want to buy houses now, if they should buy it now or if it's a good time to wait. And you always hear people saying, "Oh, wait till prices get lowered." It's like prices can get lowered, but then when the interest rates are up, you're most likely going to be paying the same price as if you just bought the house now. Or um, I know they were talking about how um, yeah, for how high interest rates are, and you get a house now, you can always refinance later, make your payments cheaper, and because then even later on the years, um, when let's say houses do fall a little, I don't, cause I mean, I don't think we're gonna have another market crash like we did back in '08 ever, because in '08 the problem the banks did was they just gave out loans because they said fuck it, cool. It's
Yeah,
they thought it was gonna be good, till they realized, oh hey, we should have checked, their credit. We should have checked their income. We should have checked this. We should have checked that. And because that happened, everything went to shit. But now obviously it's more regulated. We're not gonna have anything like that anymore. Um, but like, do you think right now would be a good time, or do you think
I mean,
like let's
that
say like if you were set, like let's say if like you were finally like set into looking at a house, not even like a mansion, just a little small house that
starter home, like
just
first
a good
house.
starter home.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing is like I don't do anything financially. Like, I'm not one of those people who are big on like, oh, this is the market, this is the interest rate. Like I know the bases. Like if I were to go out and buy a house, I know the whole like closing fees and shit like that. And
Uh-huh.
but anytime I have a question, I'll like call my dad because I've been looking at houses. Renting's getting to the point where it's like, this is the point in my life where it's like looking at maybe a starter house, someone to just get started, know how to take care of a house, know how to go through that process. And when I get my house, it's like, I know I've been through it. But
Mm-hmm.
my dad, like, that's the thing about right now, because I'm like, is right now the right time to be looking to buy a house? And he goes, anytime is gonna. He goes, it depends on who you ask, but to me, any times can be a wrong time because let's say you buy it when it's low and you're this close to closing, and then the market goes up, then that means the price of the house went up, and there goes your interest rates. And he goes, so you never know what can happen. He goes, really, it's just risk reward. You kind of just got to pull the trigger or don't, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now, from the way it looks, I'd say it's moderately safe. But again, you don't know what's going to happen. Buying a house isn't just like, oh, here's my money, take it, boom, that's your house. It's
Yeah.
it's here's my credit, here's my income, here's how I'm going to pay my mortgage, or if you get a mortgage, it's this is here's how I'm going to do this. And then something can happen while you're doing that process, and it's like, oh, by the way, how you said you're going to pay this much? Yeah, it's going up. And it's like, oh shit. But
I mean,
to me, it's just a risk reward. If it's something that you're gonna take a risk now, but in the future it's gonna be great for you, by all means do it. But if it's something right now where in 15 years you see yourself struggling, I'd wait.
mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I go into all my decisions, where it's like, if I make this choice now, how's it gonna affect me later on? You know, like if I don't have the money, if I barely have the money scraped up to put down, down payments and shit like that in the house, what's it going to look like in 15 years? What if I'm no better off in 15 years than I am now?
Yeah.
Whereas if I have the money to do all this and then still have my backup with a decent amount of my savings, I can know that at that point it's safe to do it, because if I'm doing that now, why is that going to change later on?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it depends on the person. Like me, I'm looking for one right now, but I'm also not looking for one in Nebraska. So my thing is
Mm-hmm.
like, out of state, there's property values, especially Colorado. Everybody wants to move to Colorado, so property values are crazy high. But like I said, it's a risk reward thing. If you think you're ready for it, I mean, if you're in a relationship and you're not, you know, and you have that significant other to talk to. You sit down and talk about it, like, hey, in a couple of years, I'm still gonna be able to afford this freaking house. If not, we'll wait. I mean, and that's a good thing is where we're young, where we
Mm-hmm.
don't make that decision right now. Like my brother just bought his first house, and he's 32, so it's not like a decision you got to make right now, like on the spot. It's just sit down and talk about it. When you have the money for it, do it.
Look at your finances because most of the time, if you go to any bank, they're probably going to want a 20% down payment,
Hmm.
10 to 20, and because like how you said, I mean, if you ask the normal person, they're going to tell you wait till they're cheaper. But if you ask someone who either is either A in the real estate profession or B has just worked in that area, like that's not their profession, but they know that area,
Hmm.
they could tell you really there is no wrong time to buy. You buy it when you are comfortable buying it because someone can tell you, oh, it's wrong, yada yada yada. But when the professionals tell you, hey, these are the numbers, this is what you can do, no matter what, they know what they're doing because that's what they do. And if you're gonna listen to someone who is scared and says, oh no no no, wait till the prices drop, they're gonna be the same people who are gonna keep telling you that 5 years later and say, wait till prices drop. It's not a good time to buy.
Right.
And then
I mean, if
you
you're
look back.
listening to those people telling you to wait, and you listen and you're like, okay, I'll just wait. You might still be renting a house in your late 50s because you're waiting, Whereas,
Because
it's a risk, you can't just jump the gun and be like, yep, buying it. And then you're struggling where all your
mhm,
money's towards your bills and you can't feed yourself. Or, if you're buying a house, I assume you're wanting to start a family, start a life.
mhm,
So it's like, you got that to keep in mind where it's like, okay, I also got to take care of the family that I'm going to raise in this house potentially, and then of course, you always run the thing where fix it up too, because if you decide to sell and you sell it better than what you bought it for, you do remodeling, you do this, you do that, the property value is going to go way up, like the price on it's
mhm.
like, oh, they did this, they added this, they repainted, they reshingled, they refloored, you make it look better, because like everybody says, buying a house is an investment in the long run, because you put money into it. And because rarely do you go buy a house, like you buy the perfect house for you, but the house is by no means in perfect condition. There's always gonna be something wrong with the house,
Mhm.
even if it's a little thing. So you fix it, that's your investment, that's what's going to keep you going. So I don't say that there's ever a right or wrong time. I think it's whether it's a right or wrong time for that specific person, like
Yeah.
like you said, people are always going to tell you like, oh, don't do it, play it safe. And it's like, okay, but sometimes you got to, risk, and that's kind of what life's about. You kind of just got to go for it sometimes,
'Cause you have to look at
but
your
make sure you're
finances too.
financially okay before you do it.
Mhm.
Don't just go
Yep.
buy a freaking house and then realize, oh, I can't afford this.
Yeah, because if you make $4,000 a month and say, "Oh yeah, I think I can buy a house now," it's like you gotta really look into it because right now you might think it's a good time to buy a house. Let's say if you are single, it's best to just still be renting because if you're making 4 grand a month and then you look at all the expenses, yes, you have okay, the mortgage, okay, cool, it's X amount, okay, cool. Then the insurance, okay, it's X amount. Then the property taxes, because remember, you're gonna have to pay property taxes. And you say, okay, yeah, I'll do this, and then you gotta pay all the bills, you gotta do all this, all that. Then that 4,000 turns into 2,000 a month, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. And then you look into everything else and you're like, oh yeah, I don't think it was a good time to buy now because I went from having enough to now I'm almost paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Well, and then there's like life factors where it's like, okay, before you buy a house, one, look at your job. Is it a job that's not going to lay you off out of nowhere, and then you're screwed out of work because you can't really pay for a house off of unemployment, and you got to look at things like, well, what if I get hurt and I'm out of work, and then I'm paying for medical bills with a job that I'm not working right now because I can't go because I'm injured. You got to sit there and be like, okay, is my job safe? Is it, I'm not going to get fired or laid off. the job's not going to shut down. Like me, I work in a plant. I can go into work one day and then they'd be like, oh, by the way, the plant shut down. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
But as of right now, that's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
job security is the big thing when you're looking at buying a house, because it's like you don't want to go, boom, bought this house, and then a year later it's like I don't have a fucking job to pay for my house, because you can start off great. You can start off at like, I mean, I've known like attorneys who are making 6 figures a year, buy these fancy fucking houses, lose their job or lose their practice, their licensing and stuff because of something stupid, or just don't have any clients, so they're not making money. And it's like, oh, I can't. I went out and bought this 12-bedroom, 6-bath house. Now I can't afford it. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's the risk you take. But that's like you said, you got to take a step back and look at everything. Talk, there's people out there. Talk to financial experts. Be like, hey, do you think I can afford this? Do you think it's a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, you have the money for it now, and if you keep this trend up, you'll continue to have the money for it. And that's the thing. It's like keeping trends up. I mean, it sucks because like there's times when like me, I work 55 hours a week, and there's times where I wake up during a day and I'm like, man, I don't want to fucking do it. And like, say I call in one day, that's a 10-hour shift. I don't work. That's 10 hours of pay I don't make.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at stuff like that where it's like, am I going to be at work every day? Am I going to be injured? Am I job security? It's just a big thing. And then like life things, like, you have kids and you get that time off of work. And yeah, a lot of times you can't get paid for it, but like, you got to work then, and then, say something happens, you got to travel because, relative dies out of town. You're not at work for that. You got to make sure that you're looking. And it's crazy because like, I watch like a lot of like videos of people who like talk about buying houses, and it's like, yeah, you got to look at like real little things. Like one guy, he was like, before I bought my house, I think he lived in California and his grandma lived in like, I think Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Like I looked at, one of the things I considered was, how old my grandma was. So like, when was she going to die? Because I have to travel for work, He goes, so I
Mm-hmm.
waited until after she passed away before I bought my house. Cause I didn't have to take that time off. At that worst case scenario, he goes, at that time I was paying $1,500 a month for rent. You miss a couple of days, it's $1,500 for rent. I had roommates,
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, and that's like, you really got to factor in little things, and people don't realize that. It's like they're like, oh, these big things, and it's like, yeah, but there's also little things, you got to factor in every little thing. And that's what sucks, is because like people, when they want to buy a house, they're anxious, they're like, let's get it over with, this is the house I want, so they
Mm-hmm.
jump the gun. Like, I mean, my brother, or no, I'm sorry, my sister, she bought her house and she was like, yeah, this is our dream home and I love it. And then they ran into problems because, their daughter was born and she had a lot of health problems. So they were taking time off, and, you know, they had to ask my dad for some help, which, that's not a problem. But, it's little things you got to look at, like you don't know what life's going to throw at you. No matter how small or big, you got to kind of gauge, like, if you're kind of in an area in your life where you're like, okay, things have kind of been pretty level for the last year, I say go for it, because
Yeah.
if it's been the same for that long, I don't see it changing. But then again, like I said, life throws weird shit at you, it's little things you got to gauge. But in the end, it's really up to the buyer. People are going to tell you don't do it, or they're going to say, yeah, do it, and in the end, it's your choice. It's like, okay, I think I can do it. But if you
Yeah.
fail, that's like, okay, I messed up. Now I know what to do. Don't buy a fucking house, if I'm not ready.
Yeah.
But
Like you said, people want. Sometimes people want to do it so early, like they're, 21. They've been they've been dating their boyfriend or girlfriend for X amount of years, and they're like, hey, let's start a family and get a house. It's like, we take a step back and look for how young you are. Do you even have the finances to even do any of that? Because, um, a lot of the problems that maybe our parents faced was, hey, I had you guys when you guys were young, and I had to deal with all of this. Don't repeat that now with your family, because, um, you might think, oh yeah, it's good for now. It's like, yeah, it's good for now because it's just you two. But once you got to put in all the other extra steps, it's like now you got to add everything else, and now
Yeah.
and then depends if they're still paying for their car payment or whatever, and then you got a mortgage on top of that, and everything else is like you think you can afford it until again you look back and say, "Ooh, maybe I'm doing okay right now because of the car payment." Let's say it's just the car payment and let's say phone payment right now. You're like, okay, I can do it. Until you add all these other little steps, and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I can do it now.
Yeah.
Because let's say my $1,300 check is starting to end up as 200.
Yeah, and then that's 200 you have until your next paycheck, where it's like that's paycheck to paycheck. Then you're like, oh, I screwed myself. But like that's another thing. Like along the lines of what you were saying, like I see people wanting to buy their house super young with like their high school sweethearts. Like, oh yeah, we were dating in high school and we're like 20 something. Now we're gonna go buy a house. It's like you're young. You guys could still break up. Why are you buying a house together? It's like factors like that. Even it's like don't go buy a house with someone. Like if you're married and the marriage doesn't work out, that's one thing. It's like it didn't work out. It happens. It's a normal thing. But like if you're just dating with no intent to marry for a while, maybe put off buying a house for a while. Go rent yourself. I mean, there's houses out there that you can rent to own. Where it's like you have the option to at the end of it, make these payments towards purchasing the house, or you just rent it. Go rent a house and see how y'all work together before it's like living in an apartment and like this it's something I've noticed. There's a difference between living in renting an apartment and renting a house. Renting a house, it's massive. You got to take care of it. You got to clean it. You got to fix it. Renting an apartment, you call the maintenance guy and it's like, hey man, my fucking heater's not working. Come fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And fixing stuff that's always breaking is a stressor. Takes a toll on a relationship. If you two are dating and you buy a house and you break up, who gets the house? You can't go to divorce court and be like, well, I paid this much. You broke up. Who gets the house? you
Whatever
know
the title says, whatever the title, whoever's name was on the title gets to say. And if
exactly.
both names are in title, technically, it would be, think joint. It'd be a joint tenancy. I think it's what it's
Yeah,
called, a joint tenancy, where both tenants have that equal. And I believe with that you would have to go to court and for them to decide who gets to say. I think, um, but but yeah, it's just one of those things. People want to move on so fast, and
yeah,
they move so fast. It's like like it's 21. I'm not saying it's not bad to start a family. It's not bad to to do a bunch of other things, but you know you gotta slow down. Like you may think it's good right now. You may think like right now you've got the job you've always not the job you've always been wanting, just a good paying job. You've got you know you got the love of your life, but and you gotta look, okay, do you really want to start a family right now? Like, is it the greatest time to start a family? Is it the
right,
greatest time to buy a house? Like, is it the greatest time to do a lot of big financial moves? Because people want a kid. It's what a lot of people might want until you realize kids can get expensive. That's that's where a lot of single moms, that's where a lot of single moms happen, where they struggle to feed the kid. Even families sometimes struggle to pay the kid to feed the kids. Why? Kids can get expensive, especially when they're newborn, when you have the hospital bill, when you don't know if the baby's gonna take breast milk or you have to take formula. Formula can get expensive,
yeah.
and and and
It's like like you said, it's like people, you want to have a kid, and when you both agree, it's like, yeah, let's have a kid. You just kind of just go for it. It's like, yeah, let's do it. Like when when we decided to have me and my ex decided to have our son, it wasn't just like, oh, you want a kid and I want a kid, let's do it. It was it was literally like 4 or 5 months of planning. Like, okay, if we have a kid now, this is what's going to come out because we're renting out an apartment. Do we have the space? Are you going to be able to cover the medical bills? What if we find out along the line during the pregnancy that he's going to have some health issues? It's like, and we finally settled and we're like, okay, we have the money for it, and we did. Like we were fine, but not everybody has that luxury where they're going to be okay. It's like having a kid and the idea of having children is the best thing. Like I can tell you from personal experience, having a child it's amazing. It's awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't hated any part of being a father. It's great, but at the same time, it's like you might be well off, and it's like a lot of times you struggle in silence. Like a lot of people say, people are struggling in silence, and it's like there's been times where it's like, oh yeah, like I can afford it, and then I do this. I get my son something, and then or like I help pay a medical bill because like a couple months ago he broke his leg, and you know there's medical bills, and it's like, yeah, here you go, you just throw it because like that's your kid, right? You're gonna do what
Mm-hmm.
you can for him, and then you realize, oh shit, now how am I gonna pay rent? God damn it, you're sitting there. It's like, having a child, it's a great thing. It's awesome, but in the long run, like without sounding shitty, it also sucks. It's like, damn, I got a third person to feed. If you're in a relationship and you two have a child, it's like now I got three mouths to feed. If you have animals, there's more mouths to feed. It's like then you have this stress on you where it's like, okay, I gotta make sure bills are paid on time every month because I can't get evicted. And I can't get like you have a house, I can't get it seized by the bank. I can't miss a payment, and that's added stress. And people don't realize that because like the magic of deciding to have a child is overwhelming. It's like, oh yeah, we both agree, so we're gonna do it, and it's this magical moment, and then it happens, and you're like, you take the child home from the hospital, and you're happy for the first couple of weeks, and then you're like, oh shit, how am I gonna fucking afford this now? Because now I got to go work extra time or go find another job that you know pays me really good. But but if you can make it work, great, good for you. But it's something where you do need to sit down and be like, hey, this is something we got to talk about. I know we both want to have a kid and we're ready to do it, and we're excited for it, but let's take a while, let's talk about it. Maybe it's something that we both want to do now, but let's wait a year or two. When we're financially okay, we'll put some money into savings where anything happens. We have that money. But and again, that's my advice. Where, like I said, it was a good 4 or 5 months with me and my ex talking about it. It wasn't just like, hey, let's have a kid. We have money. It was,
Mm-hmm.
have money, but what if one day we don't? You know,
Especially when the mom needs to take maternity leave.
right?
And
And
depending on the job, because if you're working with a big corporation, they may have paid maternity leave like up to 6 months or whatever. But then
yeah,
if you work for a smaller company or like family owned local business, they may say, we'll give you maternity leave. However, we don't have the funds to just pay
right.
you. So
You know,
unfortunately you would have to go unpaid, and then then puts more stress on the guy, because then now the guy, like how you said, they're gonna have to work overtime, or they're gonna have to work another job. Maybe it might be another job that they don't even want to work, but they're like, this is the only way I can afford
right?
anything to feed, like this is the only way I can afford to feed my kids and my wife, because you know she's
Yeah,
on
it's
unpaid
best.
maternity leave.
And that's another thing. It's like buying a house is an investment, and having kids is an investment because that child is a piece of you. You need to raise it up to be better than you are. How you would treat any other investment that you make. You want it better off than what you got it for. And that's the thing. Like with my ex, I was working in the prison. I was making good. I was making government money. So I was taken care of. So when we found out she was pregnant, I was like, hey, tell you what, I know this pregnancy is gonna suck. We're young. It's our first child, so you don't know what to expect. Like you can read. I read all these books about everything, like what's she gonna feel, what hormone changes is she gonna go through, what hormone changes am I gonna go through? Because yes, the males will too. I was,
Hmm.
because when she was sad, I was sad. When she was angry, I was angry. It was just I fed off of her emotions, you know, and it happens. But you know, I told her, I was like, hey, you know, this is gonna be a rough one. Why don't you quit your job? You know, I got the money to take care of it, and I did. It wasn't like I was like tired of her nagging and complaining. Oh, my feet hurt. This hurts. It was like, it wasn't even that. It was like I'm making money. You know, at the time, the apartment we were living in, we were only paying $500 a month just rent. We weren't even paying utilities.
Mm-hmm.
So we Wi-Fi, and so that was it. You know, I was like, I can pay for that. I was making like $9,000 a month. You know, so I was like, yeah, okay, quit your job, and it was fine. We were fine, but you know, not everybody has that luxury where they can be like, you know, tell their significant other, you know, like, you're pregnant, quit your job while you're pregnant. I'll take care of us, you know. So it's like I mean, you see people. I mean, I saw a lady when I first moved to Kearney. I worked construction, and she was I worked with her, and she was like 6 months pregnant working construction. I mean, she wasn't doing heavy lifting or crazy stuff, but she was out there working with us. You know, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's what people got to do. You know, and it's not even like her husband was this deadbeat person who just sat on the couch. Like, he was busted. I think she said he was working like 3 jobs. It's not like he was busting his ass too, but you know, they sat down and had that talk, and then she got pregnant, and they're like, oh shit, I think they totaled their car, so they needed a car, so they needed to save up money to get the car. So they're like I said, life throws that shit at you. You don't know what's gonna happen, you know. So it's something to sit down and talk about. Like, what if this? What if that? You know, life's just a big what if. What if this happens? You know. But again, it's not like I'm saying don't do it until you do the math and do this and do that, because people get lost in the moment. That's kind of what makes life a beautiful thing, is these moments that you get.
Yep.
You know,
Don't get lost in the moment.
like these happy moments where like you didn't even want to have a kid, and he finds out a happy accident. You know, your girlfriend comes out, hey, I'm pregnant, and it's like, oh wow, weren't planning for it, but I'm happy, and it works out or it doesn't. But you know, you just gotta kind of, I don't know, you gotta kind of roll with it. You know, just hope it works out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But even if it doesn't, there's options out there. You know, even for the housing thing, there's options. There's a lot you can do. You know, if you're struggling, there's some stuff you can do. But like I said, don't rush into it head. You know, just head first. Don't fucking gun it. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, also it's a risk. If you think you're ready, do it. By all means, do it. But also sit down and talk to somebody. Even if it's just like your parents. Like me, my dad, financially, if I have any financial problems, I'll ask him. I'm like, hey, do you think I could afford this? Because I make this much and I work this much this month. Do you think I can afford it? Even if it's like, I don't ask him for everything by any means, but it's like, if it's a big purchase, I'll ask him, like, hey, do you think I can afford it? And he's like, no, you gotta, you know, take into account this and like this and this, and what if this happens? And he goes, but in the long run, it's your choice. You know, it's your
Mm-hmm.
money. If you want to do it, do it. But also think about the future, because I mean, I've made purchases where it's like I buy it and in the moment I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then 2 months down the line, I'm like, imagine how much money we'd have in the bank account right now if I wouldn't have fucking bought that thing 2 months ago. And you know, it's just impulse buying. But like houses and stuff, just kind of, like I said, you talk to someone who knows their financial shit, you know, and then form your own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're ready, I say, when you're ready, do it. Like me, when I find the right house and I know that I'm financial, like me personally, I know that I'm financially stable, I'll buy a house, you know? But then you have those people who are like, well, no, because the prices are up. Don't do it. And by all means, that's not a bad thing. But also, you don't know when they're going to go down. You might be bragging to your friends, yeah, I'm 25 years old and I own my house, or I'm about to buy a house. But if you're one of those people who wait for that price to drop, you might be bragging to your friends, I'm going to be 25 over my house. Then you don't buy your house until you're 35. You know,
Yeah.
it's happened. But you know, in the end, like I said, it's your choice. Do it when you're ready. Do it when your significant other's ready. You know, make the right choices.
And don't get caught in that life. I don't know if you've heard the term before, but lifestyle inflation.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Yep, that's just all what it is. Your lifestyle changes, you make more, so you want to spend more. Till you realize, hey, I'm making the same amount that I was before, but even though I'm getting paid more, and that's how it is. And that's how it is with really, if you want to finance anything like a house or anything, especially a house, it's that lifestyle inflation. Inflation. You get paid more, you realize, hey, maybe let me buy a house now. Like, I I want to settle down. I either have a girlfriend or I'm married. This and that, and let me get a house because I got a $20 raise or whatever, and then you have the house, and then you say, let me get a car. Now you got the car, and all this other stuff, and now you're like, oh, and like I said, you go back 6 months later, and then you look back and say, you know what? If I didn't buy the car, and it's not even like a 2015 Honda Civic, like a 2022, 2023 Honda Civic sport hybrid. That's like a 30, 40, 30-ish, $35,000 vehicle, maybe $40,000 vehicle. And now you look back, you're like, oh, yeah, these payments are, I don't know how much it'd be, like five, 600 maybe a
Yeah, right.
month. And then you have the house payment, and then you have the car insurance, you have house insurance, you have all this. You're like, oh yeah, if I didn't buy this 2023 new Honda, I would have had an extra $500 in my pocket. But
$600 you have in your pocket each month, and that's the
and
thing. And people, and like I've told like friends this, or I'm like, don't fucking impulse buy, and it's like, well, it's an apartment. That's not an impulse buy. It's like impulse buying isn't just some shit you see in Walmart, like, ooh, that's cute, I want that, haha, take it. Impulse buy can be for big things. Don't go get this fancy ass apartment where you're paying $2,000 a month in rent, and then you come to realize it's a shithole, and you have shitty neighbors, and all the grocery stores are 5 miles away from you, and you have a kid whose school's 10 miles away, and this and that. It's like, take a second and look at the area you're in, ask questions. That's the big thing, is people don't ask a lot of questions, like especially like for renting. It's like, ooh,
hmm
how, like they just want to get to an apartment. Because like I know us, when we got into where we're at now, it was a struggle, because we had like a week. It got down to the point where we had a week before our lease in the old house was up, and we had to be out. And the lady here was finally called us after 3 months of like trying and calling every day, be like, hey, did we get it? Did we get it? Did we get it? She was finally like, hey, you guys got it. You can move in. I'm like, okay. And we moved in like a night, because it got down to that point where we were that close. But then we got here, and we didn't ask any questions because we were in a rush.
hmm
We have our neighbor slams his door, doesn't go to work, is an asshole, and is always yelling. That's questions you got to ask. Like, are the neighbors okay? Are pets allowed? Are this is this allowed? It's the same with like buying big purchases. Like, don't impulse buy. Sit there and ask yourself the questions. Am I going to regret this? And I have a habit of regretting any purchase I make, even if it's
yeah,
a necessity. Like if we go out and spend $300 on groceries that I know we need, I'll get home and be like, why the fuck did we buy that? Even though I know we need it. But that's just because I don't really I don't like spending a lot of money. I'm not one of those people who like needs all the new fancy shit and this and that. Like, I'm okay with what I got. I'll
yeah.
use what I have until it breaks. And thank God, I have a girlfriend who doesn't need all the fancy stuff. But you don't impulse buy, and like you said, don't, just because you're making more money now, don't go out and get something crazy expensive just because you make more money.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people always gotta realize. Because I'm kind of the same way with you with when it comes to impulse buying too. Um, well, not impulse buying. The like when you said when you spend the $300 on groceries and whatnot. So like sometimes um, I'm feeling good and I'm like, you know what? Let me finally get some stuff for the fridge because we don't because what we started seeing is because when my girlfriend and I get so busy, um, and we buy groceries, a lot of it goes to waste because we're busy. And then when we
Yeah,
get home, we don't feel like cooking. We're like, I don't really feel like cooking, but I'm hungry, but I don't feel like cooking because I don't have that energy to
yeah.
cook. So let's just go get something to eat or whatever. And then a lot of that food goes to waste. And then I look back and say, man, why did I spend hell, even if it's like $60, you're like, $60, so why did I even spend that if some of that food some of that food's uh so- oh, oh my bad. I thought she was crying.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I looked at her like, and no, but like I said, I thought I'm just like, what, now that expired, or when you want it, you're like you look at it and it's starting to, you're like, oh fuck, I know.
But like
And
you buy it, it's like, oh, we need it. It's food. But like you said, like I get off of work and I'm like, I don't want to cook, man. And like there's times where I don't even eat anything, like because I'm like I don't have the money to go. I mean, we're not struggling by any means, but it's like we don't need to be going to eat out. But both of us are like I mean she works, she has she's a full time student, so she's in and out all day. I work all day, so when I get home, like I'm not one of those guys who gets home and it's like I expect a meal and this and that. It's like if you're fucking tired, don't cook. If I'm tired,
mhm.
I'm not cooking, you know? So, we buy a shit ton of food, it goes to waste, and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have bought it. But then, I take a step back and I'm like, but in the moment, we didn't know that we weren't going to use it. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
really like, damn, shouldn't have spent it. We needed it. Didn't work out. God damn it. But,
and then it's worse when going back to when the food rottens out or expires, and then you throw it out a couple days later, you're like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm actually craving like chicken or whatever, and you're like, oh fuck, I forgot we had to throw it out.
yeah, I
And
mean,
then
that's the worst thing too, is because, like, I mean, I've thrown stuff out where it's like, oh, that got bad because I didn't have the time to eat it. And then I'm at work and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to get home and eat that. Then I get home, I'm looking for it, and then my girlfriend goes, oh, we had to throw it away. It went bad. I'm like, son of a bitch, I was craving that all day. Because like when you
yeah,
can't eat it, you want it. And when you have
yeah,
it, you don't.
that's why what I kind of do is um when I'm craving it at the moment, I'll get the ingredients to make it, so then I know that's all I got for either what I wanted or what we wanted. Like when it's Thanksgiving, I got the foods just for Thanksgiving. Granted, I mean, I didn't go over. The only thing we had over was uh the ham,
Mm,
because obviously the ham is the ham. And then the rest, other than I believe the corn and the pie, but pie is one of those you can kind of, which I mean, just like ham, you can eat whenever, but like
yeah,
the pie as well. Um, but it's only for that. Like I try to get almost the right ingredients just for the both of us. Like for the green bean casserole, I got enough just to make for both of us. Um, the rolls, I got enough just for the both of us. I didn't go overboard because then I knew a lot of that was gonna go to waste. Uh, But yeah, whatever we want. If we want something that I can make here, I only get it for when we want it, not to. Oh yeah, other than like milk and sometimes cereal or whatever.
yeah.
But when it comes to like meat, I don't buy like a bunch of ground beef and a bunch of chicken and say, okay, I'm gonna have it here. Even sometimes eggs. Sometimes I don't want eggs for the week, and I then when I want it, I'm like, oh shit, it expires here in 2 days. I still got a dozen here, and
And
I'm
I have
only craving it
like
for
both
today.
where you have eggs and then you don't even want that many eggs. Yeah. I
Because
don't know.
then you're like, I'm only gonna eat two, three, and I know I'm not gonna want some tomorrow. And you're like, and they expire in 2 days. You're like, fuck, what do I do? And
Yeah. And it's that whole situation. It's like, God damn. Because then you're like, man, I shouldn't have bought that many eggs. There's a smaller carton I could have bought. And then, you're sitting there like, damn it. You're questioning yourself. But I mean, that's what's really good. Where like my girlfriend, she likes to meal prep for the week. So like, I know what I'm eating for the week. Like
mhm.
there's times like we won't do it, but and I'll come home and she'll just cook. Like tonight, I got off and she made chili. But for the most part, we'll meal prep. So for the week, we know what we're eating. Just so it's like, I don't care if you like it, I don't care if you want it. This is what we're having this day, and that's what we're eating. And it's like, that day it sucks. But if you're hungry, you're gonna fucking eat anything.
Yeah.
So the meal prepping, I mean, it helps. It's good, and then we know what to buy for that week. Because it's like this day we're having this meal, this day we're having that meal. We know what to buy, so we're not out just buying like, oh, I think we need that, throw it in the cart, and then it's like 2 weeks later it's in the fridge rotting, and you're like, damn it, we didn't even need it. So I mean, the meal prepping works. Meal planning is cool and all, but sometimes you get a day where like you run out of shit or ideas to cook, and you're like, I had the same shit this week as I'm having last week because we ran out of ideas of new stuff to cook. But in the long run, it saves money because it's like you buy exactly what you need, in the amount that you need it for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, oh, I don't know how much this is going to take. It's like you have your recipe, you follow it. I need this much ground beef. I need this much cheese. I need, bread's bread. Like we always have bread or milk in our house, but my girlfriend's like obsessed with cereal, so milk never goes to waste. So I mean, we're good on that.
Same here. My girlfriend loves milk. She drinks it with almost everything. But I eat everything. I'm giving her the face because she knows. Hell, for Thanksgiving when we were eating, she drank it with milk. What, like?
I don't know, man. I can't.
Do you want to explain to him why? You want to explain to him why? Here's the mic. Tell him why you would drink milk with anything. Tell him. Ew, no. Don't leave. It's Adam. You know him. You worked with him.
Yeah, I'm the cool one.
Yeah, he's the cool one.
You guys just refer to him as the cool.
Well, because everyone knows all three Adams from Walmart. He probably knows who he is. Let me ask him. You do know who Adam Sauer is, right?
Yeah.
See, he knows who he is too.
I worked with that kid a little too much.
He worked with him a little too much. You want to just say hi to him?
Hi.
Hi. You look comfortable.
He said he looked comfortable.
That wasn't an insult. I said you look comfortable.
She's just embarrassed. She's just camera shy right now. She's just camera shy because she hasn't been on a podcast episode, like in a video with anyone else. So yeah, because I've had her on the podcast, just her and I. But when it came to a video with someone else, what the fuck? Now she's on the ground.
Grounds are comfortable, man. I took a fat nap on my friend's floor the other night.
Hey, fuck it. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm on the MacBook, so it'd be really weird to try to flip the MacBook, but yeah, she's just on the ground. God damn it.
I'm leaving. I'll be back in 30 minutes.
Okay. Drive safe. What?
Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but yeah, but to me, I just do that now. If I want something, when I'm hungry, I'll just get what I'm gonna get. I'll get the ingredients I'm gonna get. Like with me, I love rice.
Yeah.
If I buy rice and chicken, I will eat that first.
Right. It's the first to go.
Yeah, like I will chomp on that stuff, on that shit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, you just gotta I impulse buy a lot of shit. Like I'm a big child. When we go to like Walmart, if I see fruit snacks, I'm getting fucking fruit snacks or Gushers or something. like I have a really bad sweet tooth. Like I go through like a month where I'll have a really bad one. It's like you open our cupboard and there's just like chips and candy and shit, and it's like, my girlfriend's always like, you didn't even eat this, and I was like, yeah, I know. I wanted it in the moment, and then I got here and I was like, nah, don't want it anymore. And it's just.
Or sometimes you take a little, depending on what it is. You eat a couple pieces and you're like, okay, I'm satisfied. I don't really know if I want the rest. And
it. But I don't know. It's something I'm trying to get out of, just because it's like, it's a waste of money. Even if like the candy's like $1.50, it's like that's $1.50 we could have had.
Yeah, I mean that's how I am. But here at 7 o'clock, I do have someone else I'm doing a podcast episode with. Actually, this is actually someone new. She has to do with tarot card reading.
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit. I mean, it's this app that I joined called Polywork, and it's trying to get other people that outside of obviously like the Panhandle, people that I know, because I mean, a lot of I can even show you all the messages everyone that has left me undelivered or unread or just completely denied me. I can only go through so much.
If you ever need me to come on again, I'm always happy to do it.
There you go. And I appreciate that. That's what I said. I remembered. I'm like, I remember him saying that, so I'm gonna do it because he said he'd be there for it, so I'm gonna do it. Join this app.
I'll say it again. I support it. If there's a reason I can do it, I ain't just gonna leave you unread. I'll give you a solid reason,
Yeah.
But I'll always try to at least reschedule, and if you find someone else, there you go. But yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to be on,
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
Like I said, I mean, because when I get her, the tarot card reader, that'll be an interesting one because I've never, because like people who I don't know but are doing other type of stuff. It's like, oh shit. I mean, tarot card reading. I have another one. She has a company with real estate capital. She gives kind of like loans out money to people so they can have more liquid and shit like that. All the fun shit that I'm gonna talk to her about. And yeah, but I have her at 7. Didn't mean to cut you off. It's just so early. Because it's ringing at me that she was trying to join.
Oh.
Because I forgot. I was lost in the sauce.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I saw your message. I have like my personal notifications on, so I don't get like the pop-up notifications from Messenger. And I happened to slide up. I was like, oh shit, yeah, we gotta go. But yeah, man.
Oh no, it's good. It's good.
It's good talking again. Hope it can do well. I'll be over here listening to all of them like I normally do.
There you go. Any last words? Any last words you want to say to her? Hold on. There you go. Any last words you want to say to her?
Enjoy your life.
Don't worry, he can see you.
I'm sure if someone cancels on Marco again, I'll be back.
There you go. Because you're a real one.
Yeah, try to be.
Alrighty, well, I hope you have a great rest of your night. And tomorrow I do have my real estate test, so.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I gotta get ready. Oh, thank you. I just gotta.
That goes good for you.
Thank you. Alrighty, well, you have a great one.
Yep, you too, man.
All right, bye-bye.